The Braves are inching toward opening day as they make their way through the Grapefruit League schedule, but we have our eyes on the big picture here on BPTV. Cory McCartney and Grant McAuley with you, and we like our predictions like we like our espresso bold. So, Grant, right out of the gate, I'm putting you on the spot. Give me a bold prediction for the Atlanta Braves going into the season.
Well, I'm going to point at one of the guys that you're going to need to have a big season, and that's Austin Riley. He's done it the last 2 years. He set a career high in home runs a season ago, and I even said at the All-Star break, Austin Riley could lead the National League in home runs. Kyle Schwarber kind of ran away with it, but I'm going to stick with that bold prediction. Austin Riley is going to lead the National League in home runs. I'll back it off and say a Brave will lead the National League in home runs, but I'm going to pick the guy. I mean, you might as well bet on the horse, right?
All right, I'll tell you, Fangraphs predictions have Matt Olson with 36, Austin Riley with 35, Acuna with 29. The projected NL leaders are Pete Alonso and Kyle Schwarber with 38 each. So it won't take much to get there and give the Braves their first league leader in a 162-game season since Andrew Jones in 2005. Of course, the last time they had a Brave lead overall was Marcell Ozuna in 2020. But it wouldn't take very much for the Braves to get over those projections and sit atop the National League in home runs.
No, I don't think that it would. And as you look at this lineup that they have, I mean, if Ronald Acuna Jr., I know the projections are what they are, but if he only hits 29 home runs this year, I'd be kind of surprised. I mean, his career high was 41 back in 2019. We've already heard the renewed discussions about, hey, 40-40 with these new base running regulations and things that might allow him to be a little bit more on the move. And he stole 29 bases last year. So if I'm looking at somebody that could kind of do it all, maybe even be the MVP of the league, I don't think Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be out of that conversation anytime soon. But as far as bold predictions are concerned, what do you got?
All right. Well, I can't imagine a scenario where Alex Anthopoulos goes months on end without handing out a contract extension. I think he gets kind of jittery. So if you go back to last March, he's doled out 6 when you consider Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Michael Harris II, Spencer Strider, Sean Murphy, and Brian Snitker. I think he's going to get another out of his system and answer the questions about Max Fried's future when they announced an extension for last year's NL Cy Young runner-up. Where I think you're looking at that level of Luis Castillo with the Mariners, say 5 years, around $105 million. That keeps his average annual value right around that Riley Olson plateau of $21 million. And the Braves have their ace in place through his age 33 season.
Yeah, there's two things that I look at with Max Fried. Number one, he is a union rep. So does that factor in at all? And the kinds of pressures that a union rep, unlike just any other player, could get from the union itself when you're looking at these overall deals. Now, I got a chance to talk to Max about a week and a half ago, and he said, look, I've enjoyed my time here, and if they want to come and talk about an extension, I'm open to having that discussion. Then you start to look at what the starting pitching market has looked like on free agency side. Max Fried is 2 years away from that. He said his arbitration case and, air quotes, losing to the Braves and that didn't affect him whatsoever. He understands that business is business, and that's not going to, deter him from looking into an extension if he and the Braves are able to get to that table and have some substantive talks that get him there. I'm just kind of fascinated to see because he's a little bit older than some of the guys who have been getting their extensions, most certainly. So maybe that's a third factor to throw in there. But when you think about the projectability, and even Alex Anthopoulos has said this, we think he's going to age pretty well. And I would love to see Max Fried, especially in his late 20s to early 30s, locked in an Atlanta Braves uniform, because I still think those are going to be his prime years.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. Fried noted the potential of an extension. He said if it's something that comes to the table, it's something that we talk about. So I don't think him being the union rep is going to necessarily force it. I know at the end of the day, everyone's trying to make sure that you set the precedent for the future. Everybody ends up making the most money that they possibly can. But I think this is a situation and a scenario where he looks and he watched what happened to Freddie Freeman. He looks and he watched what happened to Dansby Swanson. Obviously, Dansby went above market value and what we expected that he would end up with. But I think Fried is smart enough to understand the situation he's in. So that's why I'm being bold with this projection and think that Anthopoulos gets him wrapped up for years to come.
I love a bold prediction, and this is one that obviously, if I got to pick between the two, my prediction or your prediction, I think yours is the one that's going to benefit the Braves the most long-term as well. And, not to say that being a union rep is going to just be a wet blanket on the whole thing, but I just kind of wonder if, and when you brought up Dansby Swanson and Freddie Freeman, both those guys got paid an awful lot, and an awful lot more than the Braves were offering them at any given point, especially in the case of Swanson, whose age, I guess, would be a little bit more similar to what Max Fried is looking for. So a lot of factors are at play, but as you pointed out, it's not like Alex Anthopoulos has been bashful about giving out these extensions, and Fried certainly checks a lot of boxes.
Well, the march to opening day continues, and we've got you covered here on BPTV. So make sure you subscribe, turn on those notifications, and tell a friend to help this thing grow. Until next time, I'm Cory McCartney. He's Grant McAuley, and we'll see you soon, Braves Country.